Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Martian Tomato Podcast. I am Marley, or Mars Bars.
I am Brennan/Tomato.
And before we start, make sure to go check out our Instagram account. I'll be Galactic Arrowverse Hub. We'll leave the link to that in the description down below. And if you're from the Galactic Arrowverse Hub account, then welcome. I honestly don't know if I'm getting anyone over to the podcast, but it's whatever. You know,
I don't really care.
yeah. Well, regardless, let's get right into the podcast. So let's first start off with yesterday's episode of Stargirl. Brandon, what were your thoughts on that?
Um, for me, it was kind of. I thought it was a good episode. I think it was better than last week's episode. Um, like they're just finding people left on right on kind of on accident. Like the girl, I forget her name already because I'm so
Oh,
bad with names.
Beth
So,
Chapel, the
yeah,
who the new Doctor Midnight. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's kind of cool. And the new bro or the new guy, what's his name?
Rick Tyler, the Hour Man.
Tyler. I actually really low key like his character because I've always been a fan of like people that like their parents died because it was like fraud and an accident, but it was actually someone that actually killed them. So I'm really liking his character. He was more like he wants revenge than actually helping Stargirl and their friends to compete with the other
Yeah, it
group.
seems to be kind of like an anti-hero type of character, and
Yeah,
I find that to be really interesting too because for the most part, like the new JSA, they tend to be more like good-hearted people, and it will be really interesting to see how the dynamic between Rick Tyler and the rest of the JSA or the new JSA will work out.
yeah,
Be really interesting.
and
Do you think we'll get like some sort of like redemption arc where like he would probably like eventually be like, maybe I'll stay with the JSA or something like that? Do you think that's
yeah,
gonna
I
happen?
feel I think that will happen. I feel like once like they capture or take out all the anti
The
people. I forget
Injustice
what.
Society?
The Injustice Society. I feel like he'll be like, sure, I'll stay, and maybe I'm guessing people are gonna be like, oh my god, her and him and Stargirl will be a cute couple, like yeah, and that type of thing. But I think he'll stay. Maybe we'll just have to see. I don't know. Like we're still not done with the Injustice Society. I feel like this is going to go. I think they're going to finish off most of Justice Society this season, and then they'll face like Icicle. Like the Icicle will be the main villain next season. If I had to guess. We'll have to see. I really did enjoy this episode with everything that has been involved. Even yeah, I think this whole episode was really good. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I do agree that it was better than last week's. I don't really like how they're kind of not exactly shoehorning in, but like the Beth, the character, like Beth's character, she's like, oh, she accidentally hears about the Yolanda and whatnot and her being Wildcat, and now she's like all like creepy. I mean, I find that interesting about her character. I know a lot of people actually don't really like her character that much. I just find it interesting though. I just don't like how they're kind of shoehorning her in to become the new Doctor Midnight. Because when we first open up this episode, it's more focused on Rick Tyler, right, and like the tragedy
Yeah,
of his parents and whatnot, but like we barely got any build up to. I guess we did get some build up to um Beth, I guess, finding Doctor Midnight's goggles, but
yeah,
I mean, I do prefer I do prefer that if that happened in a separate episode. But I guess it did kind of work. Like she
yeah,
did play a role. Like she did kind of like reveal the truth, like the how Rick's parents really end up dying and whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah, and
I
like
actually low key like her character to be honest. I feel like in the future, I feel like their styles are going to clash a lot because you have like guy that wants revenge. It's a smart girl that probably can't fight that just sees with her goggles and whatnot. You have Stargirl, which she's trying to be more of a leader or like being the leader of the group. You have Wildcat, which is just like, oh yeah, I don't really care
she,
sort of thing.
I feel like the whole point of this new JSA is like more of like a redemption arc because these all seem to be like outcasts in their society, right? One of
Yeah,
them's like one of them's trying to redeem themselves, that being Yolanda, because like she had like that huge scandal going on. One of them's trying to fit in, that being Beth, because like she just keeps getting like rejected nonstop because she's like kind of the weirdo, she's like the really weird kid at school. You
yeah.
have, I mean, with with Courtney, I don't really know what she's trying to do. I mean, she's just there. I mean, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
fair
her
enough.
character is interesting, but it's just that like we still don't really know a lot about her. Well, we do know a decent amount about her, but we don't know too much. Like honestly, I kind of know more about characters like the other characters like Yolanda more than I do know about Courtney because it kind of seems like when she started recruiting other JSA members, I feel like that it kind of strays away from her character and there's not a lot of development going on around her. But I feel like that's
Yeah,
gonna change soon. I feel like near the end of the season, it's not like she's gonna like she's finally gonna learn the truth about like her father and whatnot or something like that.
yeah. Yeah, and I think like we even saw for the next episode, like they're fighting someone. I didn't really see who it really was.
Well, it's apparently it's their first mission together.
Yeah, so it's gonna be obviously the first mission, and obviously Stripesy is. I'm just gonna call him that because it's a way better name
Oh,
than his
Pat,
actual name.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, Pat. Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think he needs to be. I think he needs to start being more of like the Stargirl. Be like, okay,
I kind of
like
wanted him
you.
to be kind of like a leader role. It's kind of like the
Yeah,
main character doesn't always have to be the leader role. That's the
yeah,
one thing like
exactly.
that kind of I'm not gonna say I don't like. It's just that I prefer that they went with that route. Kind of like in Supergirl, where Supergirl works for the DEO, but she's not the leader of the DEO. Obviously, like throughout the
Yeah,
year, well, it first started off with being John Jones, then later it became her sister Alex, and then now it's Rainey. Well, but we don't really know much about his fate. Um, I kind of like that because like sure, it kind of strays attention away from the main character, but it still have a role to play. You know, there's still focus
yeah,
on that character. It doesn't stray away too much attention, and it's kind of more realistic too because okay, when you think about it, like Supergirl isn't going to be like the head of like the DEO. Like she's just a superhero in a cape and a costume. Just running,
yeah,
just flying around, stopping the bad guys. She's like, yeah, it'll be cool to see her as like kind of like this leader role. I mean, it does work well, like in the Flash. Like Barry is the leader
mm,
of Team Flash, for obvious reasons. Same thing with Arrow. Oliver Queen.
yeah,
Although he's not the best leader, like Oliver is not really that great of a leader, to be completely honest with you. Like that. It was very clear in season 6. Like he kind of
yeah,
broke down his team. But like in like setting like this, where like Courtney is trying to live up
yeah.
to her father's legacy, like I kind
Father.
of expected because Pat has been there since the beginning. He's basically like
Yeah,
one of the founding members of the JSA. You think that he would be like, well, obviously, I don't expect him to like be all welcoming and accepting about like the new JSA because it seems from the promo trailer for next week's episode, he actually is like completely against this idea. But like I really want him to because it really does seem like he's just going to be like a sidekick character, and I kind of don't want him to be like that. I want him to actually be the leader role. Again, like I
yeah.
said, kind of like how John Jones is the kind of like the leader role for like the main heroes in Supergirl. I
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think.
prefer I kind of prefer Pat to be something like that too because he's been around since the beginning. He knows all about the JSA.
Yeah. I think eventually we'll come to that. I think Pat just needs to give Stargirl knowledge. Like even saw in the next episodes, like you might get these kids killed, but I feel like he needs to understand that at this point, there's no way you're stopping her. At this point, you need to just go along with her and give her wisdom.
Yeah,
You need
but
to
I don't.
be
I
able
don't.
to work with these guys.
Yeah, I just don't feel like obviously there's going to be the whole like all the arguing and whatnot. Like I understand, like that's fine. It's more realistic. I don't expect him to be like, oh, this is okay. Like that's completely out of his character. So he's
Mhm.
kind of like the overprotective dad. So
Yeah,
yeah, obviously I know there's going to be a lot of disagreement between those two characters, but like I feel like once he actually starts accepting the new JSA, I feel like he should be taking up the leader role.
yeah, I totally agree with you on that point because I think Pat like he has his big robot and whatnot, but I feel like he should be kind of the guy on the headset, like a Felicity or one of those types of people.
Do you
Be
think
on
we're going
like
to be
the
getting that? I mean, he does have like this huge like mech suit. I feel like he could be both
yeah,
of that. He can be kind of like a Felicity merged in with Ray Palmer type of character.
yeah. That's what I was kind of thinking too. Maybe I totally I think Pat's a super cool character. I feel like Pat's going about it like kind of one step behind Stargirl. Like he found out like the dude like had like a white or yellow car or whatever, and he's like, oh wait, then realizes that he's like a superhero or
Yeah, I
whatnot.
feel like
Then like
I'm really curious to see how they take his character next week. Obviously, we're going to know a little bit about like we know a little bit because he's going to he's going to be like questioning Courtney's actions and whatnot. But I also kind of want him to. I kind of want. I really liked how he was unraveling this huge mystery about like, oh, is the Injustice Society? They're here in Blue Valley. I kind of want him to kind of delve deeper into that, and I really want that to happen in the later episodes too. Obviously, we're not gonna always get that, but like for him to like uncover the truth, like we saw like that principal who's like the who has like the fiddle, like the fiddler and whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like I want him to unravel that. I don't want like Courtney or any of the other kids to like find out that their principal is a member of the Injustice Society.
Yeah, it's weird because they kind of a little bit know that because she was like playing violin in the hospital or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just weird. I feel like going like when it comes close to the end of the season, like it's just gonna be like they're gonna have like their people and then they're gonna fight the evil people at the end and like maybe someone dies or gets really hurt or something and goes into a coma or something like that. But so far, like this season has been really good. Really no complaints. So I if they keep doing what they're doing, I feel like I'm really going to enjoy this whole Stargirl season and continuing on and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. Now, speaking of Supergirl, since we were talking about, well, I was making some examples of it lately. We are going to be moving into our second part of ranking the Arrowverse miniseries. For last week we did Legends of Tomorrow, and I'd say that was a really interesting topic that we got into. And now
Yes.
I feel like I feel like there's gonna be quite a bit of disagreement here because now we're gonna be ranking Supergirl. We're all
Yeah.
5 seasons of Supergirl so far.
Yep.
And I feel like I because this is by the way, if you don't know, this is Brendan's favorite Arrowverse show. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I feel like with him, we're gonna have very differing opinions on
Opinions. Yeah,
each
I
season.
definitely think we are.
Yep. So you want to first off with your number 5 for
Okay,
Supergirl ranking?
so I would just like to say in advance, this is a noise if you're watching this. I love all the seasons. Charlie made me do this. It wasn't my fault. Okay. Um, so for number 5, I got season 4.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, I was actually kind of shocked because I remember kind of enjoying this season. I believe this is the season where the
It was
world
the
leaders
season with Sam Witwer in it. Like the guy who voices Darth Maul in the Clone
Yes,
Wars. Yeah,
yes.
he was one of the villains. It's also the first season we saw Lex Luthor in the
Oh
Arrowverse,
yes,
obviously, or like
Lex
in this
Luthor. Yeah.
Earth. You know.
Yeah. So to be honest, I really don't remember this season like at all. So I don't really remember it. That's why I have it at number 5 because like I did a little bit of research on it. I'm like I don't remember any of this besides like Lex coming into like the fray and whatnot. So I really don't have much to say on this. Is this the season where Superman first appeared, or is that a different season?
That was a different season.
That was a different season. Yeah, that's why I assumed. So I have really not much to say about season 4. To be honest, I don't really remember much. Like I remember Lex coming in, and that was like the big main point. But besides that, I really don't remember much about this season. So I really don't have much to say on this season, to be completely honest.
Interesting. Yeah, because uh, my number 5 would actually be season 2, and this is actually the first season we saw Superman in this
Oh,
Earth.
really?
Yeah, this is the one where this is the season where Supergirl like Superman was like I think infected by like the red kryptonite or something like that, and like he fought
Yes.
Supergirl and Supergirl like beat him. Which it's by far one of the dumbest scenes in all of like live action superhero. Like
Yeah.
Supergirl beating Superman, like even though like some people like some people would like defend that scene saying like, oh well he was under the influence of the red kryptonite or something like that. Okay, that doesn't matter. Shouldn't that make him a little bit stronger? Like look at Supergirl in season 1 when she was under red kryptonite. She was like I mean look correct me if I'm
Actually,
wrong.
I don't think it
Like
was
I
Red
think
Kryptonite. I think
Superman
it was
wasn't what
Mon-El's mother, like
was it?
controlling him. I thought it was Mon-El's mother that was kind of controlling him.
Or I'm not too sure. I know like he was under some like mind control and like changed it like influenced him and he went like berserk. It's kind of similar to how Supergirl went berserk in season 1. because she was under red
Yeah.
kryptonite. I'm not too sure, but like some people are defending them, saying like, "Oh, well, Superman's like powers were weak," and no, they weren't. They were like they were completely
Yeah.
fine. It was just his mind was being completely crazy, So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, Supergirl, or sorry, Superman shouldn't be able to beat Supergirl. That's for sure. Like it doesn't matter if he's under red kryptonite or he's being mind controlled by someone else. It really doesn't matter. Like if anything,
Yeah.
like when Superman gets angry, he actually gets really stronger. Like if you
Yeah.
if you and if you guys played the Injustice games or read the Injustice comics, you know that he gets like he goes like berserk. He goes like insane when he gets angry. Like
Yeah.
he's probably
Exactly.
by far like the most overpowered character in like in terms of mainstream superheroes. Like obviously we have other characters like Doctor Manhattan who's overpowered and whatnot, but like that's besides the point. Like Superman should be overpowered no matter what. And I understand that Supergirl is the same. Like she's basically just
A woman.
Superman, right? But Supergirl is less experienced. You think that
Yes.
like with more experience, you think with a more experienced Kryptonian would beat out a lesser experienced Kryptonian, especially since Kara that was her second year of being Supergirl, right?
Yeah.
Like she always had her powers, but she never really used them to that point, like to that extent until now, or
Yeah.
until just recently, right?
Of course.
But that's just honestly the least of my problems with season two. It's just that the story wasn't that great. I'm not gonna say convoluted, but it was just really boring.
Hmm.
The only good thing that came out of season two was Mon-El. I did like his
Yeah.
character. I did like his kind of redemption arc in a way, and I like how he's kind of more of a mentor. He actually turned into a mentor figure now in the later seasons of Supergirl, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like really, honestly, the only good thing from season two was Mon-El, and I guess because they expanded more because you have the Daxamites, and the Daxamites are kind of like the rivals of Krypton and whatnot.
Kryptonians.
But I mean, like there wasn't really much like the villains, which were Mon-El's like royal family. Like I found them to be like really boring. Like, they didn't really have like there wasn't really an overarching villain, but like they really only showed up in like the last like couple episodes of the season. It wasn't like in
Mm.
season three of Supergirl where Rain was the villain. Like she like she was a reoccurring villain, right? But like
Yeah.
with the Daxamites, they showed up in like the last couple episodes. And sure, like
Mm.
again, like correct me if I'm wrong because it's been a while since I've seen it, but that's what I really remember is that they showed up in the last couple episodes. It's like, well, okay. I mean,
Yeah. They
what
did
the
show
what
up in the
then like
last couple.
I know like it really made the rest of the season basically like complete just like filler. It like well not
Mm.
fully filler. It was mostly just like Supergirl or Kara, falling in love with Mon-El and stuff like that. But like
Yeah.
I mean, it does tie into the main villain stuff, but like Mono at that point hates his family. So like I don't understand like the how like there's a real connection between that. Sure, like other than like their actual like family in terms of like characters and whatnot, but like he hates his family to begin with. He always was just like, oh yeah, I'm like, I really don't want to be the king of Maxim or something like that. Like he's just kind of like the rebellious type of kid. He doesn't want to fill
Yeah.
in like in his family's footsteps, right? So it's
Yeah.
like,
I get that.
yeah, so it's like what was the point? I mean, other than I guess we have a love interest for Kara, but like other
Yeah.
than that, nothing really else.
Yeah. I get that.
I don't know. It's just like season two, which is a very forgettable season for me.
I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Well, for my number four, I actually have the latest season of Supergirl. I have season 5 as my number four. So, like, when we first, I think me and you kind of talked about this off screen. Like, when we first got into when we first like after the what was it called? The crossover happened. They Oliver made this new world, and like we saw the first thing of Supergirl, like Lex like controls the DEO, and like Lex is a good guy on this world. Like I think me and you had super high expectations for this season, which did have some good points, but as a whole, like this season wasn't really that great. Like the whole like Lex was obviously great. Like the God people, whatever I forget what their names are again.
Leviathan?
Leviathan I thought was really cool, and like the whole like going into CGI Earth or whatever, or just to get away from your problems, I thought was like kind of a cool concept. But as a whole, it was most likely like the season was just weird because like it wasn't really like it wasn't like Supergirl saving people. It was more like talking. It was more of just like a talking season, like getting through stuff. Like it wasn't really Kara going out saving people. It was more like more of a detective season, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah, it's more
yeah,
character driven for sure.
yeah, and like, okay, I'm gonna talk about William a little bit here. So we all know William likes Kara and whatnot, but he's not really pursuing it. Like
Yeah,
Kara said, like
he's just pretty chill with it, and like I feel like this season was ruined by the fans, honestly, because like
yeah,
okay, here's the thing. I really wanted Lena to like turn into like a villain. Like I really wanted her to become like a villain type of
they
character.
did too.
I'm not going to talk about a lot about it right now because actually gonna that's I'm just going to say right now my number 4 is also season 5, but I'm going to explain
Mm.
why it's there as well. So, but like yeah, basically like they were setting up this like whole Lena becomes the villain and like she fights Supergirl. They have this like epic battle, whatnot. It's like the new Superman and Lex Luthor, right?
Yeah,
Instead of that, you have Supergirl and Lena Luthor, right? They were like basically setting that up throughout the end of last season as well as like the start of this season.
yeah,
But like they don't really go anywhere with that. And again, like I said, I feel like the fans ruined it because there were a lot of people who were sending death threats to like both the actors as well as the writing crew or like just production team in general for Supergirl because
mm,
they ruined the Supercore like ship, right? Because like they
yeah.
like Lena and Kara hated each other. Like yeah, they hated each other. So it's like, oh, this show sucks. So like I guess they brought like they made her a good. They made her like on the good guy side again, which is it was really stupid to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, it was like season 5 was really weird, but I think me and you both have high hopes for next season. So
Yeah,
we'll have to see because Lex is going to be now the main villain. So which
yeah.
makes me
Hopefully, at
super
least I
excited.
don't want it to be like a villain behind the scenes. And I really don't want that
I don't
anymore.
want that
We already
either.
had like 2 seasons of that. I think it's time
Yeah,
for him to be up in the forefront. You know, so.
yeah, I think Lex is a smart enough guy that the next season would just be about Lex. Then I don't know where they'll go from there. Maybe Lena goes back to the other side or something or
Well,
whatever.
it wouldn't make any sense because, well, not make any sense. It just would be really stupid on the writing department because it's like, well, they already made her like they already turned her back to the good side, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, why would they turn her back to the dark side again? Like that
Yeah,
makes no
I get
sense.
that though, but I feel like that would be worst case scenario if you get me. If they're like, okay, we're running
Yeah.
out of ideas, just like make Lena a villain or whatever. Like,
Well, they were again, like I said, they were supposed to do that this season, but I guess because like this season got a lot of backlash, just like simply from like the Lena Luthor fans as well as like the Supercore fans. Like again, like I
yeah,
said, like um because the season was also they also had the 100th episode for Supergirl, and during like I think like during the 100th episode celebration that they had, there were a lot of people sending the actors and actresses as well as like I said the production crew a lot of like death threats. Like there were legit death threats sent to the people in the CW because of they ruined the Supercore ship, which honestly I'm just gonna say this right now. That's like, Supergirl has by far the worst fans out of the entire
oh, bro,
like
I totally agree with you, and I'm a fan of Supergirl as well, and I totally agree. Supergirl fans are kind of the worst.
yeah. But as I mentioned before, season 5 is also on my number 4 list. I think it's one maybe the only time we'll actually agree with each other in terms of our lists and our rankings.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, season 5. I don't know. There's just a lot of high hopes for the season. Like I had a lot of
Yeah,
high hopes. I was really
mhm.
excited with the ending of season 4. Excuse me.
Yeah, I was too.
I was they had a lot of potential, but it just kind of got ruined. Like I honestly I don't know if it's the fans' fault. Like I just assume that's the fans' fault because like Supergirl fans are like the most vocal people
Yeah,
out there. Like I know like they're like even like they're like straight up like accounts like Supergirl Supergirl like stan accounts on Instagram and they're just like ranting about the whole Lena or sorry Supercore is ruined and whatnot and all that stuff. And but
yeah,
that's like again like I said, it's just the least of my worries. The story was just boring, like straight up. Like
yeah,
it was interesting, like for the first couple episodes. I
yeah,
did find the whole Lena stuff really interesting, but like after Crisis, I expected them to kind of delve deep into the fact that now their Earth is merged with Earth One, to create a new Earth,
Yeah.
which is Earth Prime. They, I guess they kind of export that with Brainy's character because you met
Yeah.
all the other Brainies of all the other different Earths, and they all kind of like live inside his body now, and he became like the true form of Brainy 5 or Brainiac
Yeah.
5. But I mean, they did go somewhere with that actually. With him, I guess, quote unquote, sacrificing himself. Now we have yet to know whether or not he actually survives or he ends up completely like
Yeah.
sacrificing himself. We just have to wait until mid 2021. Other than that, like besides Brainy's character arc, this season was just a complete disaster.
Yeah.
But like Alex's character, like I guess like she kind of like she leaves the DEO and then she becomes like her like a vigilante. But it's like
Yeah.
her getting that vigilante suit, that kind of came out of
Yeah.
nowhere. Like I mean, we got
Yeah.
hints of it, I guess, because like when she was in the VR reality, right? Um she became Supergirl there, and I guess we kind of got
Yeah.
hints of her becoming her own hero. But
Yeah.
if that was her character arc, then I'd say that was really rushed because that was like only one episode.
Yeah. I was.
And
I was hoping like for next season, I want to see Dreamer as a character improve. I want like even said if Brainy dies, I think I have high hopes for a character, but if he doesn't die, I don't know. The thing I want Dreamer to be like, if like Brainy dies and like I want her to be like I want to kill Lex
yeah,
and,
that's
and
another thing. Like,
Supergirl.
th-
You can't do anything about it, sort of thing.
yeah, that's another thing. It's like character of Mia Nall or Dreamer. She was introduced last season, and then this season she does like absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
And
well,
then
she
it's just
takes
like,
her own episode, but
yeah, she has her own episode,
besides
but
that,
like that's just a filler episode that doesn't like tie into the main story. So like she does like completely nothing for this entire season. Sometimes she even just
mm,
like shows up every now and then. And that's why
yeah,
like I said, I'm kind of hoping that like I don't want this to happen because like Brainy's my favorite character in the show right now, but I kind of want him to die just so that it kind of
right,
improves Nia Nall's character because she's gonna
yes.
go on like this like kind of like revenge type of like personality next season.
Because he hasn't really lost anything, and that doesn't. I think she just doesn't get like, oh yeah, I'm a superhero, but she thinks she can like save everything, but she can't. She hasn't lost somebody she
She yeah
really
she
really
well
loves.
she was being like discriminated on for like her entire life for being a trans person as well. Like
That's true.
yeah, like her like she was basically rejected by her family, but also but yeah, I do agree that she hasn't really had anything like super tragic happen to her. I mean, like I
Yeah,
said, I mean, I guess like getting rejected and hated on by your family, that's really rough. But at the same
yeah, yeah, yeah,
time, it's like like I feel like her character is perfect to set up kind of like this like whole like moody situation where like it's kind of like with, Rick Tyler's character in Stargirl. He's out for revenge. He's out for blood. I feel like that
yeah,
could be Nia's character next season. If like I
yeah,
said, that is in the event if Brainy does end up being killed off, which
yeah,
I kind of
exactly.
like I said I don't want that to happen, but I kind of wanted it to happen as well
Yeah, I'm
because
like 50-50 because I don't know what Brainy. I don't know what he can do anything else. I think you brought it up in another podcast. Like, what else can he do? Is he just going to be
well,
leader
I
of the
mean,
DEO, or is
yeah,
he just going
well, I
to
mean,
be?
he is currently the leader of the DEO, although Lex
Yeah,
Luthor still owns the DEO, so like under
yeah,
Luthor Corps. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Like it's tough. Like this season, like I really like the ending for this season, but at the same time, I
yeah.
really
I
like
did
the
too.
ending for last season, and well,
Mm,
look how that turned out.
yeah,
I
exactly.
just feel like with next season, if they play their card, if the writers play their cards right, it could be I'm not gonna say masterpiece, but it could be one of the better seasons of Supergirl.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. If they play their cards right, just don't know what you're doing. Really, just know
Yeah,
what your plan is. Don't go like, don't just leave Lex as the villain this season. I don't want to see some random dude come out of nowhere and be like, "Yeah, I'm evil
yeah.
and stuff," and
Like
like,
Well, for me, like besides the fact that like I want Lex Luthor to be the main villain, I'm also banking on the idea that like I mean for me my hopes are just banking on the fact that like they're gonna kill off Brainy because
Yeah,
like well then that can lead to Nia kind of having like this like I said a revenge type of story arc where she's
yeah,
she's out to kill Lex Luthor and she's like having like problems with the rest of like Supergirl and her team and whatnot. And, like like she like kind of loses her sanity in some ways, like and it could affect her the way she uses her dreams as well.
yeah,
They could like
exactly.
they could write in how it affects her powers because her powers mostly are. I actually don't really know much about Dreamer's powers, but like I know like for sure like I know like her emotions and whatnot can like play a factor into how her powers work and whatnot.
Yeah, and I was also about to say maybe next season, maybe Luther somehow gets to her or something like that.
Yeah,
Like maybe
that could
mind
work too.
controls her or some shit, and then like
Or
Dreamer
or
goes
Luther
against Supergirl or
or
something.
Lex kind of like is like he kills off Brainy, but then like he offers her to bring him back from the dead by some way. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah,
Even
yeah, I don't
because
know.
I mean, he is like one of the more powerful like he owns one of the most powerful corporations in the world in the
Yeah,
Arrowverse.
exactly.
So like I feel like they would find a way to bring him back from the dead. Maybe they can like recreate a Lazarus pit in some way, and then maybe offer that to Nia and all. So like she might turn to the dark side for a little bit because like she's like going like insane. She's like like really like she's like very moody character like next season. Again, like I said, I just hope that they hope that they kind of not exactly use these ideas because I don't think these ideas would work that well, but like I feel like use something similar to that. So moving on to your number three. Mine would be my number three would be I mean it's tough. I mean for me I'd say it's season one as well. Like well not as well, but like for just season one just because um I just like it wasn't that like like it wasn't that memorable. Like people like it gets overrated for me. Like because a lot of people say oh it's one of the best seasons of Supergirl, but it's like at the same time hmm, it's not exactly uh that great. I mean it had very low viewers to the point where The Flash had to come in and literally save that season from being canceled because like
Yeah,
yeah like um I don't know, like I don't know, like it just gets like overrated. Like it's too overrated for me. Story's all right. It's not completely like terrible,
yeah,
but it's just like the villain. I mean, the villains were interesting and all that stuff,
yeah.
but it's just the way how the characters work. I just didn't like any of the characters in season one. Like I feel like
Okay.
they were pretty weak. It wasn't again, like I said,
Yeah,
it wasn't only until when the Flash came in, they had the crossover. Like first of all, the episode of the Flash, like the Flash crossover, it literally was like it came out of nowhere. Nowhere. They weren't even
yeah,
planning that.
yeah.
Like
They weren't.
it was just like oh, because the show was like to the like was about to be killed off. Like it was about to be canceled because like no
Yeah,
one was watching the show. But it's like they introduced the Flash, which at the time for season one of Supergirl, it was season two of the Flash, and it was basically the most watched superhero show out there right now, or out
yeah,
there at that time. So like to introduce it into the Arrowverse was kind of a way to like, okay, well, there's hints at the CW playing a role in the Supergirl, and eventually they picked it up next season or the season later.
yeah.
But it's like like you can just tell that this show was on life support. Like season one of Supergirl was on life support.
Yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, I don't. I think season. Oh well, I'll get to that when I come to my right guy. I still think it's decent and whatnot. I won't say much
Yeah,
because I
by no
want to say
means
more about
it's
my
okay.
ranking.
Like I mean, it's not completely terrible. I used to give
Yeah,
it a bad rap before, but like looking back now and like watching some episodes of season one, it's not bad. It's honestly it's one of the better seasons.
yeah. So for my number three, I actually have season three. This is when Rain was introduced and Supergirl was like slowly becoming like, yeah, Car Danvers was a mistake. I should just become full on Supergirl sort of thing. which I actually could low key looking back at it. I think at the beginning I didn't like it as much, but looking back, I think that was a really good season. I'm surprised I have it kind of this low actually, but that season was really good because I think Rain is probably the closest thing we got from Supergirl actually dying, sort of thing.
Oh
Because I
yeah, for
think
sure. Like she was basically the Zoom of Supergirl. Like she just like I believe in like the mid season finale. Like she like destroyed she destroyed her really.
yes,
And
yeah,
same
like
how
she
it destroyed the
destroyed
Flash.
the heck out of her, and she almost died. So this was like, I still think is the most powerful villain so far. But I have to see more on Lex and see if like Lex versus Supergirl is to the limit, of course. So yeah, it was one of those seasons where I did really enjoy it. Between 3 and 2, it was hard for me, so I just put it here. And for me, the thing that kind of confused me about season 3. Do you remember when Supergirl like time traveled back in time, right? Like
Oh, time travel?
save her friends against time travel with what's his face's ring?
Brainy?
Yeah, no, not Brainy. Monel's ring. She like time traveled and like went back in time because they all died
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah. That
Every
yeah.
single one of them died.
Yeah. It was that was like the what was it, the second last episode? Or something like that.
That was evil.
Who was
So I
sorry,
forget.
your mic's just kinda cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, sorry about that. So it was weird that uh, I forget.
I'm not sure well, was there even
I forget
oh
his
yeah, I know
name
there was
or
a
forget
time
her
traveling
name. It
thing,
was
but like
like the
yeah,
sort
like
of thing.
I mean, I guess they kind of had to because they lost. It was kind of like in Legends of Tomorrow season 2 where
Yeah,
the Legends lost so they go back in time to meet them like their past selves and whatnot.
yeah. It was for me that was kind of weird. I feel like that was kind of unnecessary. Like I guess she had to time travel back to like not make her friends die and whatever. But and then like an evil clone of her came out and went to Russia or whatever, and then Lex found her. I feel like that was kind of confusing after seeing whatever season that was. I believe it was season 4.
Yeah,
It was
season
just
4 when we got the Red Daughter, yeah.
yeah. So that was kind of weird to me. So I think season 3 is a really good season. I would switch. I think I would actually switch it with number 2 after talking about it a little bit. So actually, probably would have season 3 at number 2. But yeah, I'll talk more about that when I get to my second one.
Interesting. Yeah, my number 2 is actually season 3. Now, I really like this season a lot. I was kind
Hmm.
of torn between this and the other season I'm going to put in my number 1.
Yeah,
Reason why is because like the villain, in my opinion, is by far the best villain.
yeah,
I
I
mean, sure,
totally agree with
people
you.
were saying that like Rain is basically just the Zod, the general Zod for
Yeah,
Supergirl, but like, yeah, that's not bad. Like, this is actually pretty good. Like the way that they used Rain was really good. I like her
yeah,
whole, I like the whole like dual personality thing with like what's her face, Sam, right?
yeah,
That like how like I like the whole like mystery, like mystical aspects of that. You know how it's like it's not actually her as Rain. It's just like a subconscious like part of her. You know,
yeah,
and it's
exactly.
it was really interesting. Like I did like that because like it wasn't just your typical like oh I'm from another planet, I'm gonna like kill you all and stuff like that. But you know,
Yeah, it was one of those things where Rain I thought was a really cool character. Like she had to kill her daughter to fully become a world leader, and I'm
but yeah,
still
but
kind
there's
of
also like the human side of her that didn't want that for obvious
yeah.
reasons. You know.
And then I forget who showed this, but it was one I told it was like a vision of some sort. I don't know who did it or whatnot. It showed like Rain and like the other girl and like one mystery girl in the back that we didn't really get to see her face.
Oh, them
Really?
like the world killers or something like that.
Yeah, there were world killers. I don't think we found out who the third one was,
No,
unless
I
I
think we
am.
did. Well, all three of them were fleshed out. The third one was I think I forgot the names, but I know like in the future they become pestilence. I think, and that is what ended up kill. That's like the reason why the Legion of Superheroes ended up traveling back to the current time. That was
Yeah, I don't really remember that. I don't remember which the third one was. That's why I'm trying to remember because I don't remember if they told us which one was
Yeah,
the third one
all
or
three of them
not.
were fleshed
But
out. All three of them were fleshed
yeah,
out
I
in
don't
some
really
way.
remember that. I don't remember them really telling us what who it was, but maybe I'm having a brain fart right now. But I still I still think that was super cool and whatnot that whole season. So I already
Yeah.
talked about it. So
Yeah, it was really memorable season, I'd say. Again, like I said, I mean, for me, I could have put this at number one. Like
yeah,
I'm torn between two seasons, this and what is my number one spot right now. Um, but yeah, it was also an enjoyable ride as well. I did like how the season opened up. I think that was really cool. I did like how they incorporated the crossover into the current story because it's like, oh well, Car was able to get over her hardships, and whatnot in the during the crossover, and realize that like, hey, I shouldn't be all depressed and whatnot.
of
So that
course,
was I did like how the crossover played into that because like usually crossover is just a one-off thing. It's just a fun thing, whatever. But I did like how they incorporated the crossover for that season.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
I
like I
did
said, it was
too.
just enjoyable. It was just a really enjoyable season. We first got introduced to Brainy. I think it was a really cool character.
Yeah, Brainy was one of the cooler characters. I think at the beginning he was kind of annoying, but that was his character.
Yeah,
But now he's super cool and whatnot. So I'm really hoping. I don't really know. With me, Brainy is also my favorite character, but I want him to die out as well. So
yeah. What was your number two for Supergirl?
my number two, I think I'm gonna switch my number two to number three because I remembered how good season what was it 3 was. So this is technically my number three, but it's season one. So I really enjoyed season one. This is when Kara Supergirl is like, okay, I'm finally going to become a superhero sort of thing. And I have kind of a hot take on this actually, to be honest, but I don't really know if it's a hot take. So I kind of have two things about it. I want to get your thoughts on it a little bit too. Do you think Kara told Quinn too early? Like, you
Wait,
know what I
sorry.
mean?
If Car did what to Quinn?
Oh, because I don't remember what episode it was, but Kara told Quinn that she was a super person, like Supergirl or whatever. I feel like they kind of did it too fast, in my opinion, and he didn't really freak out. I get it, he was a huge fan of Superman, but if I found out, like,
That
my
was during
friend,
season one.
well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about. I think they kind of did it too early. I was kind of
Oh
hoping
yeah, yeah.
like,
Sorry, I thought you were talking about a different season. No, never mind.
yeah,
I too had a brain fart. But yeah, what were you saying that if they rushed it?
I think they kind of rushed it. I feel like I wanted like Kara to keep it to herself because I think it was either the first. It was definitely not the first episode. I think it was the second episode. They told Quinn, and Quinn didn't really freak out, which kind of confused me because like usually, like for Superman example, barely anyone knows his identity. He doesn't really tell. His only friends are like Bruce Wayne and whatnot. So like, and then he's like the only one that knows him, whatever. And Quinn just comes in and finds out like she's Supergirl, and he doesn't really freak out or think about it at all. He's
I
just
feel
like,
like that's
okay,
because like he's had a lot of crazy in his life. I mean, his dad is the toy man, so it's like I mean, he's had a
yeah,
lot of crazy to the point where he wouldn't really be surprised. Like he just be like, oh, that's cool that you're Supergirl. I don't think he'd be super surprised by that. Like he's gone through
yeah,
a lot, to the point where anything wouldn't really like surprise him that much. He'd just be cool
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, but it was weird. We didn't really. Yeah, I guess so. And another thing about the season is, I don't remember what episode it was. But I feel like the DEO was introduced way too early because I feel like because when I think of like Superman, for example, he before anything he just heard stuff because he has super hearing. He just hears when stuff goes on. I was hoping it was more going to be like, oh yeah, it was Quinn like telling her what to do, which we did get a little bit of that, and then it would just went to the DEO. I was hoping more like the DEO was introduced like later on in the season, and maybe she joins them afterwards because it's difficult just being her and Quinn. But I feel like they introduced that way too early, in my opinion. I was hoping it would just be like, oh yeah, Supergirl hears something bad going on and just flies out, sort of thing. Because usually Superman doesn't, for example, doesn't really need that. He doesn't really work with anybody. He just hears stuff that goes on and then he just leaves and goes on and you know saves
Yeah.
people and whatnot. So I guess it's fine. I think it still worked out completely fine. I just wished it's just the small things I
I feel
wish
like
kind of
well,
happened.
the way that they introduced the DAO is kind of like how they introduced the Justice Society and Stargirl, where it's like, yeah, there's this like very legendary organization. Well, and it's still around. In the DAO's case, they're still around. They're still operating. But
Yeah.
I think what you're trying to get, like, do you think that like they rushed how they incorporated Supergirl into the DAO?
Yeah, I was just hoping more of like we got more with just Kara, not really her, like not really with the DEO. I was hoping it would
Oh
just
yeah,
be like
yeah, yeah,
her
for
and
sure.
Quinn sort of thing.
Yeah, you wanted like more like Kara, like kind of building on her own rather than
Yeah,
just
I was
like,
hoping she would like build on her own, and then like maybe at the close to the end of the season, like her sister's like, "Yeah, I work for the DEO, work with us or whatever," like that
oh
sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But
for sure,
I
yeah.
get the point. I get the point where it's like, oh yeah, Kara and Alex are really close, and like, oh yeah, you're Supergirl. You want to be a superhero? Come work with us. And I get that, but I was hoping it would just be like more of her and just her and Quinn
Working
for a
on
little
her
bit.
own, and whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah,
with
Quinn.
yeah, Win and whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah,
I understand that. Yeah, yeah, that for sure because it's like, yeah, like you're not gonna like when you once you become a superhero, you're not gonna be like, oh, I immediately join an organization. Although that's probably the most recommended thing you do. It's kind
yeah,
of like in Spider-Man. Like in Spider-Man, he didn't want like at the end of Homecoming, he didn't want to become an Avenger. He still wanted to be his own hero. And then I
yeah,
guess he did. Well,
exactly.
he was kind of forced to become an Avenger. And then in Homecoming, he works with Nick Fury and whatnot. So it's like
Yeah,
well, okay, yeah. So
yeah. So yeah, season one was really good. I remember first. I think I watched it the first day it came out, and I just fell in love with it immediately. I don't know why. I really enjoyed the first season. Like, it had its ups and downs. Like, it was Kara finding more about herself and her learning to become more of a superhero sort of thing. This is where it kind of all started off, sort of thing. So that's why I really enjoyed this season for season
yeah,
one.
for sure. You
Oh my
sorry, your
god,
mic is just cutting out.
is it? That's weird. Okay,
Yeah, but yeah, yeah. At least season one wasn't bad at all. It was pretty good. It
yeah,
just yeah, for me though, it was like in the middle of the pack type of thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
moving
for
on to my.
mine,
Sorry, you're gonna finish?
yeah, I was just gonna go on to my number one. So.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Okay, my number one is your number five. I have season two as the best season. The only reason I have season two as the best season is because I think Mon-El is one of the main things. Like, Mon-El is still one of my favorite characters in Supergirl in general. Oh, and he first came up in season two, obviously. And I think this is when Kara really started to like get in that in between life where I think this was more of like season two, it was more 50-50. She was 50% work and 50% Supergirl sort of thing. This is like the first time where it was like 50-50. Like all the other seasons, there wasn't really like anything that was really 50-50 without these seasons. Season two is like the really only one that has like 50-50, like work and like outside
Like
base.
civilian life, and then
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, without the other seasons where it's just mostly her being Supergirl, which season two, I even said like like I want more superhero shows to get like they need they need jobs, whatnot. Like they need jobs to pay for their houses. Like they can't just go off and do their own thing and do whatever. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make
yeah,
sense. Like they have no repercussions. Like, Barry could leave his job and no one would care. Kara can leave her job and no one would care. I always wanted like her to be repercussions if she leaves work or he's late for work or something. I want her to struggle or any of the shows just for them to struggle.
yeah, for sure.
That fit more 50-50 life. So that's why I really enjoyed season two.
Yeah,
Or
for sure.
hmm,
Um, I don't. Yeah, like for me, like I mean, I guess like yeah, like it's more of character driven for season two. I mean, I think it. I think like Mon-El really just impacts Kara's life in a big way.
in a really
Uh,
big way, yeah.
it was very, like I said, very character driven. But like I just didn't like how they incorporated it into the overall story.
Yeah, I get what I get what you're saying from that point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, moving on to my number one. My number one is your number five, which is season four. Reason why I really like the season, not only because we were first introduced to Lex, but
Yeah.
I did like their villains as well. I actually not. I don't want to be like a. I don't want to come off as a really bad person, but I actually kind of found Ben Lockwood's story, like backstory, really interesting. Like I like how they handled this season because like this season was a very political season. It was obviously a commentary on immigration and whatnot, and they used that in a way of
Yeah.
like alien amnesty and whatnot. But I did like how they handled this season where they weren't taking any sides, although they do prefer one side, that's for sure. But they
Yeah.
weren't really like Supergirl, like knows that like yeah, both sides there's a lot of wrong with both sides, with like the pro
Yeah.
alien, anti alien, whatnot. Like like obviously you have the elite, I think they're called the elite and whatnot, or something like that. That's like the the very radical people. Those are like the pro radical alien people, right? That's the one led
Yeah.
by Manchester Black.
Yeah.
And like yeah,
So
like obviously they balance out like because like it's not just the Agent of Liberty that are bad guys. They're also again like I said the elite. They're also the bad guys as well. And it's like yeah,
yeah.
like they're really messed up people on both sides of the argument. So
Yeah.
like although at the same time, there are also some very valid points on both sides, and like I said, like how they handle the politics in this season. I was
Yeah.
expecting it to go more to like take one side and then just like vilify the other side and be like, oh well,
Yeah.
like obviously like anti-aliens is bad, that's all that. Like I was expecting that to happen, but I actually like, they didn't really go that route. They just yeah, they had a little bit of that, but at the same time, they understand where people are coming from. Like I said, we had the backstory of Ben Lockwood, and it's a really sad story as well. Like I mean, he's gone through a lot of tragedy, and all that stuff, and it's like, well, you know, he just like he made really bad decisions and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I was about to kind of say like that season was like it was last on my list, but I think they did the political stuff really well in that point. I really did like his character as well. Even though he's more of an underrated character, is more like him trying to turn the people against Supergirl, not like him like trying to kill her or whatever. It's more like humans on their side and then trying to take it over sort of thing. So yeah, I get that. I get that point and everything. I thought he was a super cool character in general. I did really like his backstory and whatnot. So yeah,
Okay, yeah.
it was just yeah. I don't remember much about that season. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for season four for me, I just like how I just like the story and how I also really like Lex's character, how he's so manipulative. I think he's such a fun guy, and I just love John
Yeah,
Cryer who plays Lex. I also
hmm
found the Red Daughter really interesting as well. I did like her backstory as well. That was really cool.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I think that's really it. We'll have to say for our ranking. So,
yeah.
just do an overview. My number one would be season four. Number two would be season three. Although they're both tied for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Number three would be season one. Number four would be season five, and then number five would be season two.
Oh, I for my number five, I had season four. For my number four, I had season five. My number three, I had season three. I think I'm going to move that to number two actually, and then so no, my number two was season three, and then my number three was season one, and then my number one was season two. The recap.
All right. Well, I think that's about it for this week. Thank you all for stopping by, and stay tuned in for next week because we will be ranking the Flash seasons, which is going to be a pretty big one as
Oh
well. So
yes,
stay tuned.
super
Stay tuned
excited.
for that, and we'll see you guys next time.
I hope you guys all have a great day.